But General also. It's funny with his hat on.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. I'm glad you made your back.
I'm going to give you 3 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, go ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome everybody to the September 2nd meeting of the Franklin Board of Aldermen. The first thing I need to do is get a motion to excuse Verlin Curtis from tonight's board meeting. He's on vacation and out of town. So moved. Is there a second? All in favor? Okay, Verlin's excused. The next item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I have asked Joyce Hanlon to lead us in that tonight.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, does anybody have any additions, subtractions, or anything to the agenda presented tonight? All right, being none, I would call for a motion to adopt tonight's proposed agenda.
Make a motion. You got it.
Second. All in favor? All right, ladies and gentlemen, need a motion for the approval of the August the 4th, 2014 board minutes. Do we take their additions? Second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have several people that are going to be speaking, and I just want to give you a heads up that I have a stopwatch tonight. We have a whole bunch of people speaking. It's a very simple one. It's just got start and stop on it. So even I can run it. So the first person at the public session, I'm going to ask you, if you will, to keep your comments since we have 13 people that will be speaking tonight. So I'm going to ask you, this is a little abnormal to do that, and I'm going to ask you if you would to hold it to about 4 or 5 minutes, and I will time you. And if you go over that, I'm not going to throw anything at you or anything. I just want to ask you back. Sit through all this enjoyable couple hours here. All right, on the public session, did everybody that wanted to speak to the public session, I'm not talking about the nonprofit funding pool, but anybody that has something out of that that wanted to speak that did not sign? All right, that being Bill Van Horn, representing the Franklin AT Community Committee. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Aldermen. As the Mayor mentioned, I address you this evening as the recently elected chairman of the Franklin AT Community Committee. I would also like to recognize other members of the committee that are here tonight. I ask that they stand, state their name, and the organization or business they represent, please.
Matt Bateman, Stand Play and Smoking.
Karen Wallace with the Macon County Public Library.
And we also have Outdoor 76.
Yep, Jonathan Bird.
And Outdoor 76. Least I forget one of our inaugural members, Mayor Bob Scott, and our newest member, Alderwoman Patty Abel. As a reminder, the committee serves at the pleasure of the town of Franklin. And secondly, our mission is to seek the mutual benefit to the Appalachian National Scenic Trail, its users, and the local community. The committee is in favor and fully supports any action you take to highlight Franklin as an outdoor recreation hub in Western North Carolina. Back in the spring of 2009, It was one of the committee's first actions to recommend an addition of an AT white blaze to the tree in the final development stage of the Franklin Town logo. Additionally, the committee believes the town logo represents the very best of what Franklin offers: clean air and water, majestic mountains, outdoor recreational opportunities, and our gem capital history. Thank you for the time to address you this evening, and do any of you have any questions?
Any questions from the board? Thanks, Bill. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Sue Weathers, Uptown Gallery, Macon County Art Association. Welcome, Sue.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can I just do those? Pass around, thank you. Save some time. Okay, we got the stopwatch going.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. All right. I am Sue Weathers. I'm president of Macon County Art Association and co-director of Uptown Gallery. We've been part of Franklin for over 50 years. We've been 25 years operating a gallery here. And I want to point out to you that we're open to anybody in the community. All our programs, our lectures, whatever we do, are open, so anybody can come. As membership goes, we're open to artists in 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional media. That means painters, sculptors, potters, wood carvers, whatever. Okay. And we encourage people to support us as supporters and patrons to keep arts alive in the community. The vast majority of our membership lives here in Franklin full-time, either in Franklin or in the surrounding area. We have some part-time residents, but most of us live here all the time. We also partner with the Bascom Gallery in Highlands to bring children's art to Franklin, both to Uptown Gallery and to the middle school. And also we have various camps and workshops and stuff for the kids during vacation time, both here and in Highlands. The gallery itself, which is in front of the workshop space, you've probably seen before. That's where Art Association members can show their stuff. Everything's run on a volunteer basis. We don't have anybody who's a staffer. And we feel that without Uptown Gallery on Main Street, Franklin would lose an anchor for some of the other stores that have developed here, selling art and artisan-made objects. The town of Franklin be like without the gallery. They said it's just somewhere to go and get guitars fixed. So just bearing in mind, we hope that we are bringing to the area, I wouldn't say upscale clientele, but people who've got disposable income, who are going to spend money in the town, either in the gallery or in the associated businesses. It does differentiate Franklin from the towns around here. There isn't a gallery run by an art association around here. So that makes us different. It makes us actually unique in this area. And we're here to showcase people from Franklin, the artists and artisans who live here. And as I said, most of our members do. All of them live here part-time or full-time, but almost all of them now live here full-time. We want to help and continue to help Franklin become or be a destination town, not somewhere where you go on the bypass and you don't stop on Main Street. And one of the things that we've done this year, this summer, is to start having art shows on the first Saturday of every month, and we'll continue that through October. So I am inviting you all, I'm here to invite everybody to come and see the art show from 9:30 to 4 o'clock, round the clock tower, round the gazebo. And there you'll be able to meet our members, the gallery will be open, and I hope that you'll be able to come. Can I answer any questions?
How many members do you have?
We have about 55 to 60 right now. Okay? That's Barbara. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Matt Bateman, it's your local.
Thank you. Let me hit you with another invitation, just a warning. First of all, I'm Matt Bateman with Venture Local Franklin and Stay and Play and Smokies, a small business here in town. I'd like to echo Mr. Van Horn's sentiments about the ATC, AT community and our efforts there. And the reason I'm here is on behalf of Venture Local Franklin. You're familiar with our cash mobs. I think I've been here before and let you guys know about that. We just recently held our 20th cash mob, which it's a very successful event. We have, we constantly average over 20 mobsters that are coming to these businesses to spend at least $20 with them in mass at the same time. Some of these businesses are doing 1 to 3 businesses revenue within an hour time frame, which is pretty incredible. So, it moves me to my invitation. Venture Local Franklin and Cash Mob Franklin is reaching across the mountain to Silva, our neighboring community, and some of you, I think, have probably seen this on Facebook already, to extend a neighborly hand, to say, hey, we're here for you, due to the recent fire on August 16th that shut down their main street. Affected a lot of businesses there, detoured traffic away from their businesses. So Venture Local Franklin said, hey, let's do this. So we're going to. And I'll hand a flyer out to each of you, if I may. This is your official invitation. All information on there. Well, it's more inclusive, Joyce. We like it's for everybody. I'll get you one somewhere. I've got yours is special delivery. September 5th, it's this coming Friday. 5:45 we'll meet at the old courthouse steps down where the fountain is in downtown Silva. I think it would be an awesome gesture for our leadership in Franklin to go over and say, hey, we'd hope they do the same for us, but let's just go ahead and reach out that hand if you can make it. I know it's kind of short notice, but we'd love to see you there. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any questions or comments?
Questions?
Very nice.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you.
And I just think it's a real magnanimous effort on your part, of Venture Local part, to kind of bring Franklin to Silva.
And it's part of a bigger idea thing that Venture Local's kind of been, how can we connect communities together? I mean, we shouldn't let a mountain separate us. So, anyway, Facebook event page is up too. It's got over 250 people that said they're going. So this thing's going to be big. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. I have a couple of proclamations. The first one is for the Job Corps Day. And the Job Corps Day was on August the 20th. However, that's passed, but that's all right. We're going to go with the proclamation anyhow. Whereas 50 years ago, this August 20th, the U.S. Department of Labor's Job Corps program was created to provide career training and education opportunities to our nation's most at-risk youth. And from its very beginning, the Job Corps has operated on the fundamental principle that young people in search of a chance to change the course of their lives should be afforded that opportunity. And whereas since the program's inception 50 years ago, more than 2.7 million low-income young people have received life-changing career training, education support, and whereas today, some 60,000 young people attend one of 125 Job Corps centers across the country. The Job Job Corps fills a critical need at a time when nearly 15% of young people ages 16 through 24 are neither in school nor at work. And whereas, in addition to career training and education, the Job Corps centers provide social skills training and other services to empower these young men and women to obtain and hold a job, enroll in advanced training, attend college, or enter the military. And whereas Job Corps continues to evolve, offering training that meets the needs of a changing workforce. And whereas the Lyndon B. Johnson Job Corps Center in Franklin, North Carolina is a vital member of our community, providing employment for local residents, training for area young people, and actively participating in service. And whereas it is timely and appropriate that people of Franklin, North Carolina join together in celebrating and honoring the accomplishments of Job Corps on its 50th anniversary. In observance thereof, I call upon the community to join me in saluting the Lyndon B. Johnson Job Corps Center and the National Job Corps Program for 50 years of helping low-income young people improve their lives. Do I hear a motion to adopt the proclamation? Second. All in favor? I don't think anybody's here from the Job Corps tonight. The next proclamation I have tonight is a proclamation to proclaim September the 17th through September the 23rd as Constitution Week. I think there's some folks here from, oh yeah, okay. We'll get a picture and I'll read the proclamation here. Whereas September 17th, 2014 marks the 227th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. And whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary and to the patriotic celebration which will commemorate the occasion. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designated September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore, it is proclaimed by the Mayor of Franklin, North Carolina, that September the 17th through the 23rd is hereby designated as Constitution Week, and all citizens are encouraged to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitution added in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering lost rights may never be regained. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand to cause the seal of the town of Franklin to be affixed on this first day. We get the clerk to attest to it, and then you get it. Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it. I'm gonna pass these down. Chad, you'll sign. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All right, here we go again. Okay, we've got the presentation by the applicants for the nonprofit funding pool. Now, the board is only listening to the presentations tonight. We're not taking any votes on them tonight. We will make a decision on them when we have a continuation meeting that will be on Monday, September 15th, at 5:30 p.m. So what we did, we put this in alphabetical order so that there's no kind of preference, anything about who goes first. So it's strictly alphabetical. I will be asking you to keep between 4 and 5 minutes. I have my stopwatch going here tonight. So the first on the list is the Arts Council of Macon County. Who's representing? Hi, Bobby. Are you representing?
I suppose I am.
All right.
I'm not the Arts Council. I'm often here as the face of the Arts Council, but our board is meeting right now after the second floor of Peoples. This is the first Tuesday, it is our board meeting. And we have the most wonderful board, I think, in the world. Do you have any questions? Has everyone seen our proposal? Has anyone any questions? We need your funding. We serve the people right here in our community. We're not about tourism. We're about nurturing the arts, giving community people a chance to discover and develop the artists within ourselves by bringing in a wide variety of programs. 2 days ago, we had the Ubuntu choir singing world music in Aramaic and what they sang in, I think, 5 different languages in the chapel at First Presbyterian. It was otherworldly. Earlier this month, we had barbershop chorus and ice cream social. 2 weeks from Sunday, we'll be having a classical pianist and violist in concert. We do this year-round. We present programs, we do artists in the schools, we make small grants to other nonprofits. We have just had, oh, she's gone, a banner printed for the Macon County Art Association's art only, and they're really hurting right now, so they need support too. She didn't ask for it, but they need it. We need it also, and we appreciate your support and your time here. Has anyone any questions?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And the summer has a corrected budget. We did end our last fiscal year with more than $100. I think it came out to 11 or 12, but we need the money.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, the Franklin Community Care Clinic, who's here? All right, welcome.
I didn't know if we were allowed to give additional information other than the grant proposal, so I'm going to pass this around to some sort of okay. Basically what it does is it just tells a little bit about the community care clinic, our history. You know, we started in 2010 here in Franklin as a continuation of the Highlands Care Clinic. In 2013, we became self-sustaining. We're our own 501(c), and that's why we're here for funding. We are seeking lots of different grant opportunities, not only locally, but within the region. We were just awarded a $15,000 grant from the Sisters of Mercy, and we're just reaching out to the community to fund this worthy cause. And is there any questions?
Any questions, comments? Board? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, here you are. Your name?
Oh, I'm Christy Armstrong.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Christy. The Franklin Garden Club.
Good evening. I'm Susan Parrott, President of Franklin Garden Club, and I'm here with several members of our group to let you know how much we have appreciated your past relationship with us and the Town of Franklin Board, and to share our request for your continued support of our efforts to beautify our community. As you know, the Clock Tower and Rankin Square Gardens are maintained by club members who volunteer their time each month to keep the areas attractive and inviting citizens, visitors, and prospective investors to Franklin. Club dues, our annual plant sale, donations, Macon County annual funding of $2,500, and your funding from the Town of Franklin enable us to provide timely maintenance of both of the square gardens. This year we had to remove overgrown cryptomeria trees from behind the water feature in the Clock Tower garden. They were replaced with 3 Horseman's Blue Atlas cedars, which were intermediate-sized conifers with silvery blue needles and gave the area a more open, airy appearance. A hardy false cypress, Camasiderus, and I'm practicing saying that, was added to fill in the space adjacent to those cedars. The diseased weeping cherry tree in Rankin Square had to be removed and was replaced with 3 new red buds. We used a new cultivar called the Rising Sun, and we look forward to seeing the golden apricot new growth on those trees next spring. The hostas and ferns that have been replanted in that area, and they should fill in completely by the spring. The pergola, donated by Goshen Timber Frames, has been installed and is to be stained when we have enough consecutive days of sunny weather to dry out the wood and then to set the stain. Plantings at each end of the pergola will soon provide another shady spot for visitors to sit and enjoy the gardens in the surrounding areas. As we look to the coming year, we know that all of the beds are going to need winterizing with mulch, and then in the spring the soil has to be amended, and sometimes we have to get outside labor to help complete these tasks. There's also a concern that I mentioned in the application about the large oak tree in Clock Tower Square. It's being professionally monitored, and we hope that we'll be able to save it. Plants in both squares continue to mature, and several need replacement with new and more viable specimens. While we're also looking at adjustments to the sprinkler system for more efficient watering, and as well as ways to improve lighting in the garden areas so that evening strollers will be more comfortable. Members are also interested in working with the town to care for the strips between the sidewalks and the streets that border the gardens. We want to keep them well maintained and attractive. Our Franklin Garden Club membership has continued to grow, mainly because of our members' interest in maintaining the gardens for the people of this town to enjoy. We hope that with your continued support, the gardens will remain a source of pride for you and for us and for this town. Do you have any questions? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for all y'all.
I'm glad you're putting the red buds in.
Alicia, are you here with the Kids Place? Okay.
I'll put on that hat tonight.
Welcome.
Well, thank you for opportunity and for having brochures. In fact, that's the main thing I want you to hear tonight from me is thank you. The support you gave Kids Place last year was greatly needed. Our numbers increased last year. New referrals were up 20%, and the number of child forensic interviews was up 28% last year. I love the opportunity to brag about our Franklin Police Department that we work very closely with. We have one of the finest forces, I believe, for a small town especially. And we work very closely with them. We did 16 child forensic interviews for them last year. We have a forensic interviewer who's specially trained to do that. Our police officers aren't often trained to do that. So our numbers keep going up. The funding, we're requesting funding for the coming year to continue to provide these vital services. And I'm very pleased to say that we were able to pull in a Governor's Crime Commission grant that I know some of you are familiar with. And it does require a 20% local match. So the funds that, it's an 80-20. So you would help us raise that 20%, which we would be able to pull down the 80% through some federal, so it's not adding to tax dollars. So we would just appreciate your consideration, and if you have any questions.
Questions from the board?
No, I would welcome any of you to come take a tour sometime. I know some of you have already been there. We'd love to see you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Macon County Care Network.
Good evening. Scott Moritz, representing Macon County Care Network. Sorry, has everyone else had any questions that I could answer to start with about our proposal? Proposing to get for our use for this grant would be to put in a walk-in freezer in our warehouse. We've had an installer out, electrician out, make sure everything is all set to go to do that. Reason for it, or the biggest benefit that it would bring, is there are additional programs outside of Franklin being through MANA that we could be taking advantage of if we had the facilities to house more frozen goods. The TFAP program, the Temporary Emergency Food Assistance Program put on by the federal government, they offer large packages of chicken, whole turkeys, things like that throughout the year. Right now, we can't take advantage of those because we don't have enough freezer space. So that would allow us to get that, which would be just a benefit to everyone that does receive our services here. As well as sometimes we do even currently run into issues with accommodating the frozen donations. Walmart, for instance, just did a large one that we had to work out an arrangement with Nantahala Meats to be able to use their walk-in and store some stuff on the side because we just couldn't accommodate it all. Right now, we're just using reach-in freezers to store the frozen goods. So it would definitely improve and enhance our capacity if we could do that.
It's a good idea. Anybody? Comments? Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Bacon County Habitat for Humanity. I think we have enough people to build a house tonight.
I'm Rick Westerman. I've been here many times before in the last 11 years. I'm just going to give you an update. We have changed our name to Macon/Jackson NC. That doesn't mean any of the funds we get go to Jackson County. Everything we get stays in Macon. It comes from Macon. Everything in Jackson stays in Jackson. We had to take over Jackson. They had some issues over there. They were ordered a cease and desist 2.5 years ago. In order for any Habitat affiliate to be involved in that community, they asked us to take it over. They will never ever allow to be have their own affiliate. So Jackson County falls under Macon County. So that's why you see Jackson after Macon. And with that being said, a little update. We now have 2 stores, one here in Franklin, one in Silver. I've also started a collegiate chapter at Western Carolina, which is almost like an affiliate. They've got a board and everything. They report to us. They also have a lot of young labor. So that was very beneficial to us. 8.5 years ago, we started a repair program because we figured if we could take funds, we could help more people do repair work than building just one house a year. Now, we still build a home, but we also do a lot of repair work. We started 8 years ago. Habitat International started it 2 years ago. So we were ahead of the curve, and they're trying to teach us how to do it, which is kind of interesting because we've been doing it for so long. I brought John Ward along, who's my outreach and construction coordinator, because now that I have both counties, I have the college, I'm stretched like a rubber band. So he's going to stay exactly what this money is going to be used for. It's going to be used for repairs, and I'll introduce John Ward.
Mr. Mayor and Board, thank you for letting me talk. My name is John Word. I'm the Outreach Director for Habitat in Macon and Jackson County. Quick summary of what we've done in this past year inside the city limits. Brenda Berry and Charles Welch received a roof replacement, pulled off the old shingles, put new shingles down, got them fixed up real good on the roofs. Grady Passmore ended up getting some wall repairs. We're able to go in and tear down some walls that he had that were deteriorating and replace those, as well as Rose Forehand. Her water heater went out, so we were able to replace her water heater along with a lot of the pipes. We've done quite a bit of work for Smoky Mountain Pregnancy Care Center, as well as other organizations like the Humane Society, installing windows down there for them, just to get them some air off in the Humane Society, as well as Reach. Have helped Reach out a couple of times. We're already starting to receive requests inside the city limits for more repairs, another roof, a couple more repairs that need to be done throughout the next year, which is why our request is being sent in for funding for inside the city limits. Any questions? All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Macon County Historical Society Museum. Mr. Shook, welcome, sir.
Thank you, Board. Appreciate all you do for us. I do have some concerns about the museum, and usually concerns runs into dollars. One of them, and I can tell you why, we've had a great year this past year. It's been wonderful. We've had donations and loans of some outstanding Civil War weapons. We have a Spencer carbine. We have a Sharps carbine. We have a Burnside carbine. We have a Springfield musket. And the beauty of the Daddy Rabbit that we just got a week ago is a Henry repeating rifle, which I've never seen one. Very rare weapons. Well, I've got to protect these guns. I've got to upgrade security and purchase a gun safe. So these people has entrusted in us with these valuable artifacts. So, you know, I can't let them down. Our system that we have now is old. It works well, but it's limited. I've got some vulnerable spots. Every time it goes off, Franklin PD right there. That works very well. But there are some vulnerable spots. I need to get that fixed, and as well as a gun safe. And that's just some of the main concerns, because I wouldn't want the public to know what these weapons are worth. So, but thank you for what you do. Any questions?
I might have one recommendation. You want to might put that water trough in the safe at night too. Somebody walks off.
We'll let the mayor handle that.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
last year when you came before the board, Mayor, I think we requested this year to get an update on that third floor on the renovations, but that's what it's been for the past several years.
Right.
Request is to finish the third floor. How are we doing on it?
Very, very good for all we got. 2 rooms that was the heaviest damaged in the fire that needs walls. But other than that, everything's complete. And it looks really good, and we're using it with archival boxes, and we're storing things properly now. It's acclimated, it's got heat and air in it. So that's all taken care of. We just got that third floor is a couple of the vulnerable spots I was talking about in the security. And if we address that, we'll be in good shape.
And you're looking now to upgrade your security system and purchase a safe for a high?
Yes.
Is that what? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
That's what your request is, $5,000?
Yes.
Okay. Fine. Good.
Okay.
Have you had an estimate for the safety?
Yes. We've actually we got $100 off, and we can get it for about $600. 24 gun safe, that's plenty, and it's fireproof also.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome to come to the museum.
Okay, Macon County Public Library. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Aldermen. Thanks for considering the library's grant application for our Reading Rover bookmobile. Educational mission is to challenge students and help them excel. Our grant request focuses on the younger range of that group of people, preschoolers and their caregivers. Study after study shows that the sooner a child begins learning, the better he does down the road. Let's give kids in Franklin an early start. We have programs at the library for preschoolers and for older children as well, but a lot of preschool children are in child care centers, so they have trouble getting to the library. So we bring the library to them. Our Reading Rover bookmobile visits child care centers within the city limits of Franklin. The town values partnerships to help them develop ever-improving academic environments. Partnering with parents and staff, public schools, Head Start, Southwestern Community College, Western Carolina. Our Reading Rover is all about partnerships. A lot of the funding that we receive for our Reading Rover bookmobile comes from Region A Partnership for Children with Head Start.
We partner with our counties, with our friends of the library. We get private donations. We write grants. We do everything we can to keep the Reading Rover bookmobile on the road. To keep that rover on the road, we go to the communities that it serves and ask them to help with the funding for that. Those funds would be used to help staff and operate the vehicle. You've got some statistics on how many children were served last year, about 1,600 children in almost 160 classroom visits, and evidence that those visits had an impact. 75% of the children who were served through the Reading Rover bookmobile could demonstrate pre-literacy skills, building blocks for learning more. And we thank you for providing some of the funds to help us deliver those services to those children. It's about books and reading and making sure that kids in Franklin get an early start in learning, but it's more than that. It's about opening up the world for them. There's a very short, I promise, Mr. Mayor, excerpt that I want to read you from Shelf Life, and this is by an author named Gary Paulson. Gary Paulson did not have the best childhood to start out, and he writes about the impact that books and reading and libraries had for him. A librarian gave me a book, and I consider every good thing that has ever happened to me since then a result of that woman handing me that book. I wish I could remember the name of that first book. I can't even remember what it was about. What I do remember about that evening at the library was that it marked the first of many nights that the librarian would give me a book. Here, she'd say, I think you'd like these. And she would select books that she thought I would like, things that would interest me, westerns or mysteries, survival tales, science fiction, Edgar Rice Burroughs. I'd take them home and hide in the basement and read. I'd bring them back and we'd talk about them and she'd give me more books. But she wasn't just giving me books. She was giving me everything. She gave me the first hint that I'd ever had in my entire life that there was something other than my drunken parents screaming at each other in the kitchen. She handed me a world where I wasn't going to get beaten up by the school bullies. She showed me places where it didn't hurt all the time. I read terribly at first, but as I did more of it, the books became a part of me, and within a short time, they gave me a life, a look outside myself that made me look forward instead of backward. That's from Shelf Life by Gary Paulson. The power of books and learning is a really important thing. So we'd ask you to consider our grant request to bring books to the children in Franklin, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate your support.
Reach of making.
Many of you know that I coach at Franklin High School. I've coached there for a long time, for about 15 years. And inevitably at coaches' conferences and camps, I get to meet educators. And they always ask me, oh, what do you do for a living? And inevitably there is this really awkward silence. And I say, hi, my name is Jennifer, and I'm the Assistant Director of REACH, our Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Agency. Most people don't really know how to quite follow up when you say you work with a Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Agency. And I think that's because one, we don't talk about it a lot in public forums, and we certainly, there's a lot of stigma surrounded by working and providing services for domestic violence and sexual assault victims. In particular, I remember when I was I was nominated at work to do a community education outreach booth at the senior, an elder event. And I will never forget, I was telling an elder woman all the great services we do and how proud I was of where we worked. And when she looked at me, and very sternly, as I could see my grandmother doing, she said, honey, we live in a great community. Those problems don't happen here. And it really made me think, I'm so glad that that's why we have an opportunity to come in a public place like this to talk about the services that we provide. Because so often people do think, well, we just don't have those problems here. Those problems don't exist. And I think when you hear our statistics and our services, you begin to see that, oh no, in a small community, this is happening. It is happening to somebody that I know, somebody that I go to church with, somebody that I work with. It might even be happening in your own home. And as someone who works with youth and has worked with youth for a long time, I can certainly attest to the fact that sometimes what seems like the perfect household isn't always the perfect household. And so I did want to start off with some statistics just to give you an idea of the service provision that we're providing. The numbers that I'm going to give you for shelter represent both Macon and Jackson counties. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar that, like Habitat, we're also providing services in Jackson and Macon counties. But the service numbers I'm going to give you are specifically for Macon County residents. So since July 2013 through June 2014 in the shelter, we have housed 103 unduplicated victims and children. 45 of those were under the age of 18. That gives you any idea of how many children we're having to shelter in Macon County. They had an average stay of about 30 days, a total nights of 3,511. It still was not adequate. And if you know, we are embarking on a capital campaign. Right now, it's not like we want a new shelter, it's we need a new shelter. We had to refer 41 families in Macon County away to other counties because of a lack of space last year. We are pretty much at full capacity, have been at full capacity, and continue to be at full capacity. To give you a snapshot, from July 2014 to present, so you're not like, oh, is this an anomaly? We've served 32 unduplicated victims and children. 11 of those were under the age of 18. They've stayed a total of 442 nights since July. We have already had to refer 10 families away to other agencies due to a lack of space. We simply just do not have the space. And when we say refer, it's a big deal. The closest shelter to us, homeless or domestic violence, is 45 minutes in any direction, east, west, north, or south. The ability for someone to be able to seek shelter in another county, a lot of times they don't have transportation. Sometimes the school system is the only support that their children know, the constant support that they have. It makes it very difficult for victims. As far as services, and this is just for Macon County clients, since July of 2013 through June, we've served 370 individuals in person for domestic violence, 88 in-person victims for sexual assault. For services, provided 12,741 services for domestic violence victims, 2,664 sexual assault services, and received 853 hotline calls in the last year. But that's not actually what I want to focus on. What I want to focus on in my extremely short time limit from Mr. Scott is what a great community we have, and we're glad to have the partnerships that we have. We've been really fortunate. Habitat for Humanity has helped us out tremendously, and we're glad that we have a town that considers funding to continue to provide services. Thank you very much. Does anybody have questions?
About 15 seconds.
Oh, good.
Anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Scott, you start with you, Jim. Oh, you go do this.
Well, I'm going to start, but I'm going to introduce Jim Akins.
All right.
Jim Akins is the chair, and no one anymore is receiving salary. And so that's a hint of the bad news that I'll be doing.
Okay. Tom's running. Come on up here, Jim. Okay, Nancy, would you mind using the mic?
I can, because
Okay.
I can't stand that long.
That's fine.
My
Go right
neck is
ahead.
shot.
Go right ahead.
I can talk pretty well, though, can I?
That's good.
Okay. Okay, well, the Scottish Art Museum has been in Franklin since 1996, and it's a unique museum, and you may not realize this, but it's the only Scottish Art Museum in the world. There used to be one in Scotland, and they merged with another one of their national museums. So it is unique to this country and to the world. So it's kind of nice to think that Franklin has something that's quite different from any other place. That as far as Scots and Irish and Celtic culture and information, We have a lot of written inquiries and email inquiries and questions and requests for information from people all over the world. And it's because people do know that the museum is here. In fact, I said this last year, I'll just say it again because it's just worth saying. The world knows more about the fact that there's a museum here than Franklin does. And we'd like to change that. We really need to start to change that. Anyway, our primary source of income is sales of Scottish items and dress that we sell either online in our online store, or we sell directly to people who come to town and come into the Christmas shopping or whatever and buy items. And that income has not been as good as it has been in past years. We were at one point the primary. We got in early on the having a website and selling on the internet before the other guys who do the same thing got involved with selling their Scottish items too. So we really had a good head start. Unfortunately, it just kind of went just like that after several years. So our sources of income have decreased significantly. And the bad news is that we are at least $55,000 in the red. The good news is that we have Jim and his wife Kathy and all of us who are doing things for the museum with no pay. And he used to be paid. The good news is, oh, I'm sorry. Your wife was? Yes, okay. Anyway, so the thing is now that we're cutting everything we can do, and now we have to find ways to improve our situation, money-wise. If the museum should fail, and it's certainly a major possibility that it will, that's why I asked for $5,000, which is the maximum I can ask for. I never came last year and asked for that much money, but we just simply do not have. We have poor cash flow. We have we're struggling and to keep the place open and to pay off the bills, and we're managing, but we don't seem to be getting ahead. And while it may not seem like $5,000 would help, it would, because and then since we're doing a lot of things to save money as well, we hope that just by keeping our noses to the grindstone, that we can get out of this, because it would be really sad for us as personal. It would be personal for us to lose it. It would also be not good for the city. The city has a unique kind of museum here. I mean, you go on the highway and there's all these signs that say Scottish Darkness Museum, and people come there. It's really a real draw for people who are interested in Scottish. So what we're hoping for is that we can get some assistance, and it's going to be money that we're going to have to use to keep going. What we're doing. The online sales have increased recently, haven't they?
Yes.
Okay.
Our situation has improved over the last couple of months. Unfortunately, we're getting to the point that walk-in traffic is decreasing.
I'm going to have to cut you short because it wouldn't be fair. You're over 5 minutes.
Okay, that's all right. I think I said it all.
Okay, good. We wish you the best. Any comments or questions from the board?
Yeah, I've got one comment on your application. I noticed that you haven't had a board meeting in the last 14 months.
No.
It's got a June 14, 2013. This is 2000.
The requirement is to have minutes in the last year. So the year from now, this is the mid-year. So we went to the yes. They had three. They had 3 meetings in the last year, the last 12 months.
You don't have a copy of any of those?
I do. I have the minutes. Did you not get a copy of them?
No, it's June 2013, the one you submitted in your application. It's June 2013.
Okay.
This is 2000.
We had one in June 2014 also.
We could have that one.
Well, we'll
We're
try
gonna
to
be
get
we're
that.
gonna be looking at these in another couple of weeks. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think we can,
we get
okay.
I'd like to see an up-to-date copy.
Well, that would be great. We'll work on that. We can, and.
Nancy, if you would, just email that to me or drop it off, and I'll
Yes.
make sure the board gets
Good,
it.
okay. Okay.
Folks, that takes care of the nonprofit funding pool. If any of y'all need to leave, feel free to do so. I'd just like to say real quick that everybody here tonight has really shown how much community is involved in we really appreciate it. So if you have to leave, feel free to do so. Thank you so much for coming. All right. Clear it out. Clear out the hall. The rest of it's pretty boring.
I realize that.
Sure. Yes. Y'all want to take about 3 minutes break? Yeah, let's do it.
Please do not spot me.
We'll be back here at 8 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
For the controversial, I'll send the media out now since we don't have any audience.
Good luck throwing me out, Bob.
I'll run Friday. We'll try something. Draw this instead of.
Make some cookies.
I got the better end of that deal. That Franken meeting is going to be going on tomorrow morning when I go to work.
It'll be on.
No, those will be going on.
I'd much rather be here, Mom.
They said the whole parking lot was full and they were parking at Microtown walking. The whole parking lot was full. There were people parking at Microtown walking down. We get to San Davis tracking
According to my cheat sheet, the one that's in big letters and the written with crayon, just for me. All right, we're going to set the public hearing for rezoning petition for one parcel on Highland Road. Justin, you're going to present it to us, and we'll need a motion to set a public hearing, probably on Highland Road for Monday, October the 6th at 7:05.
Yeah. Yeah, in your package, you'll see the zoning petition where it was sent to the planning board from the last town board meeting back on 8/18 for this one parcel on the Highlands Road. And I just need to set this one for public hearing. So
I hear a motion. Second? Second. All in favor? You're not voting?
Oh, yeah. Let's try to figure out which one of us motions we are the second.
I'd assume you did the motion, I did the second.
Okay, the next one is to set a public hearing for rezoning 3 parcels on Tracy's Place. Where's Tracy's Place?
off of Watauga Street up near East Franklin School.
Okay, and we're going to set the, if you get a motion, set that public hearing for the same night at 7:10 instead of 7:05. You expecting any opposition, like discussion or anything?
There might be a little bit on it.
Okay.
I got quite a few people to, it's a.
Plan board.
Yeah, if you'll see, if you'll see in your packet down at the bottom, you'll see the planning board, just the recommendation, which there will be some, the owners will have some added information.
But we still do a public hearing.
Yes.
Well, but this is an opportunity to remind the board that zoning, rezoning decisions, simple rezoning that is not a special use and not therefore a quasi-judicial thing, is purely legislative. So if this body doesn't want to do it, then it just doesn't happen. I'll leave it at that. So you're not legally obligated to have a public hearing on whether or not to do this. It's up to you whether or not you want to go ahead and.
Okay, so the consensus is we do want to have a public hearing. Okay, I guess we still need to have a motion.
We need to be public.
Yeah.
I make a motion for
I second.
All in favor? All right, we need a resolution authorizing Madam Town Manager to apply for state revolving loan funds for the town of Franklin's water plant expansion.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, what I was asking from the board tonight, if you recall from our previous meeting, we had McGill and Associates come before the town board, and you guys were gracious enough to allow me to kind of start conversing between the two and see where we could go with this water plant expansion. The resolution that you have before you simply allows the town manager to authorize, execute, and file an application on behalf of the town of Franklin with the state of North Carolina for a loan to aid in the construction of the project. One thing I do like about this, at any point in time, the 6 to 8 months, if I feel uncomfortable at all that we cannot feasibly afford this, we can withdraw our name. This at least allows me to start that process to see what funding we could get.
Okay, do I hear a motion? Or any comment, discussion, sort of? Okay, so we have a motion to accept. And a second. All right, all in favor? Okay. We have a budget amendment for the Tourism Development Authority. Madam Manager, you are going to present this item?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. What I have before you tonight is, as we're all aware, the Tourism Development Authority is basically funneled through the town's budget each fiscal year. At their board meeting in August, they requested to up that cost. We've funneled through to them $100,000. They're looking at wanting to look at Pandora Radio and look at a Pandora Radio app. The addition expense to that would be $18,400. So the request before the board tonight would be to allow the TDA board to dip into their reserve and get $18,400 to spend on this app. What I also need is a budget amendment, because when we went through our budget procedure, we had only allowed $100,000 to be funneled through. And if John, if you want to elaborate on how this.
The section law, and this is reflected on the resolution, section law 2004-105 that created the Town of Franklin TDA specified, and this is pretty much how it is across the state, that the governing body, governing board of the municipality that the TDA is located in has to budget their funds and otherwise manage them. So you do set a yearly $100,000, and it's been $100,000. It could be more than that. But that's been roughly what the collection on room occupancy taxes has been. The TDA completely voluntarily, and the town volunteered to do this, allow them to do this, set aside an additional fund, a reserve fund. It's always been TDA money. It lives here, and it lives with the town until they request it. So that's basically what they have done. They are the only body who can spend that excess fund, because it's the collected occupancy tax commission. So, yeah, they're the authority to do it, exactly. So that's what this resolution would do, is amend the budget to authorize those additional funds. Please do note that I had the amount wrong. It's not $17,800. That should be $18,400. If there are no questions, it would just be a resolution, a motion to adopt the resolution with the one change that it's $18,400.
We make a motion that we change the resolution to read $18,400
And adopt it.
and approve it.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, I'll wait and sign the revised one.
Yeah,
Unless you want to sign it.
No, that'd be fine.
Just back through it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that was 18,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Update on Memorial Park, Crawford Branch Riparian Restoration Project. Madam Manager.
I have good news.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
Yay. Myself and the land use administrator, Justin Setzer, embarked on this journey. It's been going on for a few months now. We've worked really closely with LTLT. They've been a huge supporter in trying to see what we can do with Memorial Park, or the JC Park as I'll always remember it. We applied for some Duke funds and we were granted the full $20,000. So we will start, Mr. Setzer and I met with some contractors and a group from Ben Laster with LTLT, who's been great to work with, to kind of come up with a time frame of what we're looking at, and we're looking at starting March to April of 2015. We're also working with Macon County Soil and Water Conservation. They're looking at donating to us a rain garden to try to alleviate some of the trash that washes into the parking lot and then automatically washes into the stream. The rain garden, I encourage you guys to go and look at the Macon County Early College. They have one out there. It's just a vegetated area that collects the runoff so it doesn't go directly in the stream. But that was good news. So moving forward, and I'll keep you posted as we move along, but just kind of a heads up, we were granted the full $20,000 to do a full stream restoration at the JC Building Park. So.
It really needs it badly. It's great it's going to get done. We can't progress with anything else until we had that done.
Right.
You know, we can't make any decisions what else we want to do until we see what they're going to do to it, you know.
It's been a long time, even longer than several months.
When was that? Okay, any further comment on that? All right, the next item is the discussion on the Town of Franklin logo. You all have a color thing of it. What I'd like to do is to have that and let anybody that wants to use it send it out on their advertising or whatever, so that it gets the name of Franklin out there and what we're about, the outdoors, and waterfalls. Farrah, you raised the concern maybe about it would cost a lot to change the stationery and all. Would you mind if we just used up the current stock, that way it won't?
Yeah, I want to make sure that whatever we do, and I like it, I don't have anything against it whatsoever. I think it's going to be great. I just want to make sure before we embark on something that will cost us money, that if we do have something, we set a timeline and we budget for it next year. So.
I really don't see a whole lot of expense right now. The main thing is a lot of folks are talking about they would like to use it in their home.
Do they need our approval or?
No, I don't think so, unless it's something illicit or something.
Who has the copyright?
That's what we're just discussing over here. I don't know who designed it.
It was done when they did a Main Street revitalization thing, and there's no copyright on it, so it's a public record.
Okay.
I wonder if we need a copyright.
Yeah.
Well,
that question came up one time before, I think, and I think the feeling on it was they would rather have it get out there. Rather, if we copyright it, we're going to be the only ones that can use it. So.
We might be able to prevent some.
Oh, we could, if somebody was misusing it, I think we could stop it. But I don't know, that's a pretty neat logo, and it is us.
It's beautiful.
It's already done, we've already got the artwork. Like if we decide to put them on coffee cups or something, all the artwork is already in place, it's camera ready.
You know, there's a Franklin in every state, you know, anyone else in the
No. It's got everything on it. It's got the movie, the waterfall, the hiking.
It really pops.
It does.
You know, when they did when I did the Main Street thing a few weeks back, and she was going through the slides, she had a slide that had a number of different town logos, and she had this one up, and it was the one that really like jumped out at me.
It's been around for a while because I know the date when it first came about because the presentation by the company last month it was on their presentation. So they
Okay, is any discussion? If not, I'll call for a motion to adopt it as the official logo of the Town of Franklin.
I would love to make that motion.
Please do.
I'll second.
Okay.
I'm so happy you did that.
It's getting late.
I need to get some sleep. I'm getting really silly. I'm sorry.
All in favor? All right, thank y'all so much. That's just great. That's good. Tax release. Mr. Counselor, you going to present the sign?
I believe all of you have in front of you this old Town of Franklin logo, which really doesn't cut the mustard. A number of tax releases. These are being recommended to you by the tax collector, and they're basically all for clerical error. And so the only thing you would need to do is to approve the releases for reason of clerical error. The motion to that effect would take care of this item.
Do I hear such a motion? Would somebody like to make a motion?
Please. I make a
All right,
motion.
Joyce makes the motion. Give the taxpayer.
Well, I'm a taxpayer.
Arnold's second. All in favor? Okay, the business license ordinance. Okay, Counselor.
Mr. Mayor, as I think you are all aware, and we've had some discussion on this fact, the General Assembly in their infinite wisdom has decided we don't need to collect business license taxes anymore. And so we have, at all municipalities in North Carolina, have whatever they had in place last year with the provision that they can no longer bill any entities that don't have a physical location within your city limits. And then at the end of this fiscal year, it just goes goes away altogether. There is no such thing as a business license tax next year. And as far as the question about whether or not we get that tax stream, that's been decided for us, and there's nothing we can do about it. There are other purposes that the business license tax legitimately serves. And you all recall, about a year ago, we added to an ordinance, we had this as a practice, but we spelled it out in the ordinance that no business license could issue before they had been here and had let our land use administrator check and make sure that they were zoned correctly for whatever the business was. So it had some sort of regulatory function too, and that's a prime example of the kind of thing that we will not have at all come the beginning of that next fiscal year. What we can have instead, and what I would recommend to you and ask you to authorize me to begin working on, is a regulatory business license. This is not a money maker. It's not intended to be a money maker. We're talking $5 or $10. It would be an ordinance that would cite that we're trying to do it for the purpose of making sure that we, for the health, safety, and welfare of the people in the town, know who is doing business, what kind of businesses they are, where they're located, if they're located in the place that they're allowed to under our UDO. So in order to do that, I think it'll take a couple of months probably to get it developed. I don't know of a whole lot of them out there, but I would ask for your direction to do that. Happy to answer any questions you have. I also think it might be advantageous to resurrect the ordinance review committee that we've had a few times and met on the nuisance ordinance and things like that. I thought that was very helpful in terms of having most of the board know what we're talking about from day one.
Let me ask you this, John. How many members do you have on that ordinance?
Well, like any other one, we treated that committee as a public body anyway. And we always, just to be sure, Derek was in Justin's role at that point, but always made sure to have public announcements. Nobody, I don't think anybody who wasn't on the committee ever showed up to it. So we would continue that practice. I think we had three aldermen, and that's what I would recommend, just to keep that as a number. And I do think this is a committee that you as mayor can appoint for your rules.
Well, actually, what I guess I'm getting at, the whole board technically could be on this.
You can, except we're having a full-on board meeting anytime that, instead of just having 4, 5, 6 people get together and eat a sub sandwich down here, it becomes a board meeting.
Yeah. Well, if you have 3 board members and myself, you've got 4.
Well, and that's why I recommend 3 aldermen would be.
All right, I'm asking.
And
3
no,
aldermen.
no, sir, I don't think you and 3 aldermen is.
Don't y'all find something we can do?
Well, you can't talk right now to this, maybe.
Well, I guess so, yeah, I don't think anybody would push it. Let me ask you this, who wants to volunteer?
I was on it before, but I'm glad that somebody else wants to jump in and be on it.
It's up to y'all.
Do us women want to take it?
Go ahead.
Carol, would you like to be on it? We would love to have you on it. He's very
Feelings
upset.
are hurt
He's
now.
very upset.
That's something unique to the city. Think about it till our continued meeting.
Yeah, that'd be fine. That'd be
We
fine.
usually meet during the day and for the schools and have businesses or whatever.
I think it's a great idea because we really are, by not having this other, we're losing information on what's going on.
Yeah, we really need to know the, where the
Anybody can just open up anything in town, legal or not, or not.
So do I have your general direction to start drafting
Yes.
an ordinance, and we'll talk about it?
Let me put it this way, the mayor can appoint, and I get no volunteers. I'll do Now I have that.
Am I impressed?
Instead of power.
You have 1 volunteer, because
Being there to compensate us for the cost of our city personnel having to deal with it.
We'll do the best we can. The conventional wisdom on that, and I don't know that there's any statutory, specification. Here's the most you can charge for a business license. It's not a tax that way. $5 or $10 may be the most we can do.
That's all it needs to be, that'll compensate for the time.
What happened to the flat $100?
It was in the bill until it just wasn't, and they jerked it clean out of it and they put in.
$100 would probably come out better.
We would have. We absolutely would have.
If you had 1 chair of barbershop, you're paying $2.50. Okay. All right, any other motion on that? So be prepared to volunteer, and if not, we'll go ahead and appoint them.
And I don't think I need more than maybe 1 meeting of that committee, just to bounce it off of some folks and make sure it's making sense.
Okay, update on property located at 415 Forest Avenue?
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure what's again, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I have continued to look into this situation, and here's where we are. I think we have sort of a 2-step decision to make. One is, what is it worth, and what are you prepared to spend to, what is the town prepared to spend on rehabilitating these properties? There's been quite a bit of complaint about how they are, and I have no doubt in my mind that they violate the nuisance ordinance. So, step 1 is, and I've been looking into how to do this, authorize me to sue them on behalf of the town. We will sue the parties who own these lots. We will ask for, from Superior Court, an order to go in and clean up it'll be an order for us to go in and clean it up. And once you do that, it becomes a lien against the property, but it's as a sort of a judgment lien in the amount that it costs us to clean it up. So this was the initial estimate that Justin and Summer got for us on what that sort of cost we're looking at to do that. The next question is, and this is, I know how to get the judicial process started to make this thing happen. It's a lot less clear that I can get your money back once we've done it. And in having read up about how this works in other municipalities, I think recovery of your funds, you're never going to be made whole. By definition, if you're cleaning up a nuisance, we're talking about properties that have serious problems that may be expensive to clean up, and they're folks that it's the same kind of folks that have judgment liens. I'll put it to you that way. There's a property in this area that, just on the public record here, has, some of it's tax liens, and we've talked about how if we ever got to the stage of foreclosure, you can work out tax liens. The federal government is happy to get something when it's just sitting there not collecting anything. We might be able to do it, but I think that you need to be satisfied and be willing to go down this avenue. And I'm not talking about appropriation of any funds tonight. We don't know what it'll be other than some hours involved in getting the process started. Let us get to a judgment. We'll get a new quote. We'll go clean it up. Once we've done that, we'll circle the wagons again and look at what the cost recovery aspect looks like. Now, I can't promise you anything. The one lot that has $87,000 in liens against it is on the tax books for $70,000. So, and there's no telling, since that $70,000 was established in 2007, how much of that building value we're specifically going in there to tear out and get rid of and remediate, because it's not worth anything. So that's kind of where we are. I invite any questions you have, but I know what the judicial process of this will look like, and I would ask for your authorization to begin that process.
Something we can't leave that neighborhood sitting that way because nobody wants to move in that area, or, people are tired of looking at it. They feel like nobody cares about that whole,
We have to whatever.
It is seen, there's businesses who are going down local there. People, professionals who are going into some of those, I've heard several people say, I can't believe what I just saw as I was passing from your company. Oh, yes.
This is where I was wondering, are we setting a precedent for this? Somebody from another neighborhood comes up and says, hey, we've got a big problem.
Well, anybody can file.
Yeah.
That's sure, yes. We establish the ordinance.
Right.
You don't give much hope, you don't recoup any funds.
This particular one problem.
Yeah, there was ever one that's the wildest extreme ever. This is it.
Yeah. Isn't he on a long-term vacation right
Yeah,
now?
like 25 years or something.
So if we clean it up though, they can mess it up, right?
Well, here's how it goes. The town sues them for violation of its ordinance, and we get an order to go clean it up. Then we know we've been blessed by judicial fiat. Go in there and clean it up town, you have the right to do it. We don't get any complaints from them, we don't get countered, we don't get sued back for anything. It's just not possible. We know we have the right to go in and clean it up. The cost of cleaning it up becomes a lien against the property, but the problem with enforcing an ordinance through this procedure, I do think it's the best one for the reason I just mentioned. The quality of lien you get against the property when you go to foreclose it is you're way down the totem pole. It's not like a tax lien, which actually we do have some tax liens against this property too. And we'll explore what that means. But if you go and execute that judgment lien and sell the property, it's going to be subject to all the other liens that were already on it before you got there. So these, a federal tax lien from 8 years ago is still on that property, and it still will stay good for it. We'll have to work through clearing those things up, and it may well be worth it. We'll look at that. We'll recover the best we can your expense of having cleaned it up in the first place. It's just, that's going to be a much more difficult process than getting to the point where we've cleaned it up.
I think what she was asking, did somebody build something there, didn't it?
Well,
It's still his property until it's foreclosed.
it is, and
Could we clean it up and then somebody get back?
well, we don't own it. Nobody will own it other than the current owner of the property. Yeah, that's a good point.
He could very well lease it, they could pull in another private trailer there.
It could. I tell you what we would do though is part of the relief that we're asking for the courts at that point is put in the order that they know that refrain from any further violation of our ordinance. And then you have the power of a court order to say, if your land use administrator goes and finds, oh, well, there's another burn-out trailer there somehow, we can go ask the Superior Court to drag them in front of a judge and say, show cause why you're not following our order, or it's...
Another 3 months.
Yeah, maybe.
This is no win situation, the only thing to do is clean it up.
Yeah, we gotta do it.
I think so.
So we want to put it in the form of a motion?
Yes, sir. How would you like me to use
Just
that?
authorize town staff to proceed with judicial enforcement of the zoning, of the nuisance ordinance against these 3 parcels. And I can, Chad, I'll get you the numbers for them.
I make a motion to do whatever John just said.
Does anybody's second it? Okay. All in favor?
So good at your money.
You can sit there.
No. Baker County tax bill for Old Town Hall
Well,
property.
and let me point out before we completely leave that last topic, this is just, Justin made a good point. Just so you don't have sticker shock in, a couple months when we come back to you with estimates to clean this up. This.
Okay, you've got the tax bill for Old Town Hall.
We had a discovery of, by Macon County tax collector, of value of a piece of town property. And we had a disagreement as to whether or not that's correct. So on this one, I'm asking you for authorization for town staff and myself to pursue any available administrative remedies for that.
Motion to that effect. I'll make a motion. Second. All in favor? Okay, let's go around the table real quick, see if anybody's got anything they want to bring up that we haven't beat to death tonight. Patty? Barbara?
We touched everything we could touch tonight.
Yeah. Carol? All right, Billy? Brian, this point.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I have one update if that's okay. I'd like to report to the board that we did have 2 more privilege license refunds this month. They were less than $100, therefore I went ahead and authorized that refund. But I wanted to make you aware of that.
As long as they're less than $100. That sounds good. Okay, then, I guess we'll need a motion to set the continuation meeting, if this suits everybody, for Monday, September the 15th at 5:30.
Is this a continuation?
It is a continuation. No, it's a continuation of tonight's meeting. And this comes with pizza, I believe,
Whatever you want.
as long as it doesn't have mayonnaise on it. Well, I've called for a motion.
Let's just talk about food now.
I move that we continue the meeting on September 15th.
5:30. Do I hear a second? All in favor? We're not adjourning, we're just going to continue. Okay, that's
We don't have
it.
to have a motion to adjourn.
No, we'll be in recess. Be in recess. Everybody go ahead and put on the agenda.